Hello and welcome everybody. Hold on, let me make sure I have everything on mute here. Okay, because I did have this pulled up in another tab and I didn't know if it was going to start playing. Welcome, my name is Shannon. I write under the pen name of SC Houston here on my channel. You're on SC Houston YouTube channel. I'm also the author of the Clash of Gods series and that's a YA fantasy series, and also a Curse of Scales and Feathers, which is still on Kickstarter. We have 4 more days left if you're wanting to support that. It won't be on retailer platforms until probably next year at this point because of the different options I can do once it comes off the Kickstarter. So I'm going to go with that. But today we are going to talk about SEO for authors, which is by the author of The Londoners, Estelle Van de Velde. I do have the English version. She did translate this recently into French, and we actually did a podcast episode with her. So it was a great learning about how we can go and approach translating books and what our different options are. But I think SEO for authors is really the big ticket here for me. I had a chance to read this book ahead of time, but I went ahead and got the paperback anyways because I know I'm going to be devouring it again. And there are actionable tips within the book that you can actually start working on your website now. Your website, your social media profiles, your Amazon page, everything could be optimized to bring traffic to you or increase your chances to bring traffic to you. So I'm going to go ahead and let Estelle do her intro, and then we'll get on to us talking about the book.
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Shanon, for inviting me on your channel to talk about SEO or search engine optimization. I'm Estelle Van de Velde. I'm a Belgian author, content creator, and passionate speaker about all things book marketing and publishing. As Shanon mentioned, I've just released a book about search engine optimization for authors, and we're here to talk about it today.
I wanted to show my copy, but it's not coming in until tomorrow. Although I do have the ebook too.
Yeah, that's why
I have the ebook, but I wanted to show the actual book. It took so long to populate on Amazon. It's not coming in until tomorrow. It had issues. The paperback had issues populating on Amazon the day it was released, which, I was in contact with guests. I was like, it's not showing. There's no paperback.
Yeah. But I was not stressed because on the day of launch I was so bad that I spent the day in bed. So I slept through the day.
The release day.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't know, Estelle, she is having a bad reaction to medication she was put on, right? Is that what it was?
True. Yeah. It was for a stupid cold. But now it's more than that. I had more symptoms and stuff. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say hello to hello, Rachel.
Hi, everyone.
She was like first, and I was like, yeah, you get the door prize. Don't know what that is, but you got it. Is there a way to give away an ebook that you've bought? I don't know if they're going to do that. Welcome, everyone.
I don't know if there is a way to give away an ebook that you bought.
It's just buying one and sending it to someone before.
If you want to do a giveaway for this live stream, I can do one.
Yeah, we could do that. So I was thinking about that. I was like doing some type of giveaway or something during the live stream. But if you guys do have any questions about SEO or would like to ask Estelle any question, please label them with a Q. And I've already seen one pop up there. Hello. And there is order your copy of it today if you're able to. The ebook or the paperback, they're both available. And then Anita, hello. How are you? Thank you for coming. And RC, hello.
Hello.
All right. So I know the answers to this question, but for those who may be watching now or on the replay, could you please tell everyone what prompted you to write this book?
Okay. So in 2022, I think that was that. Yeah. In 2022, I had the chance to speak at the Women in Publishing Summit in March, and it was about SEO. And that's the topic that I know best in marketing because I've been working in marketing for at least 10 years now. And I've been specialized in search engine optimization through my past jobs. So I thought, doing conferences about SEO, why not? And after the Women in Publishing Summit, there was another one who contacted me for the same kind of events, and still about SEO. I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then the third one, and then the fourth one. And my husband said, you know, Estelle, you're missing out on something. And I'm like, oh, yeah. And he was like, yeah, you need to write a book about SEO for authors that you can promote during your many conferences. So people can buy and go further, like deeper into the topic. And I'm
And I
like,
remember,
sure.
I remember when you were telling me that about the conferences that you were being asked to speak at, and I said, well, why don't you write a book? You're like, yeah, my husband was telling me that.
Exactly.
So I remember that conversation. So I did a little bit of a search for SEO for authors and stuff like that, just to see what was out there. And there's not really, at the time that I was looking, there weren't any books out with it. Now, I did go onto the UK website because I thought on Amazon, I went on there because I thought I would leave a review. I've done that before, but I guess I didn't. It's been over a year since I spent $50 on the UK website. So I can't leave a review because you have to spend so much money on the website. So I was able to leave it on .com. But on the UK one, when I was trying to search for your book to find it, there were 2 other books on there, SEO for authors. So have you had a chance to look at those?
There's SEO 4, the
Number 4.
The number 4.
Yeah.
And the other one is a book that is going to be released in August, I believe.
Is that the one you were telling me about?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, very interesting. All right. So if you could pull out your, because I didn't get a chance to, you at the time that we interviewed you for the Self-Publishing Tips and Tricks podcast, we were just talking about.
I did not know.
We were just translating this. We didn't know about SEO for authors. So what is your best tip or trick that you would pull out for authors from this book?
From this book, that's really hard for me to say because there are so many things that you can do right now. But one of my beta readers, Kira, who is actually in the comments right here, she told me that the most surprising thing that she learned from my book, so SEO for Authors, was that she also needed to optimize images names when uploading them onto their website. And I was like, yeah, that might be that actually, because people usually when they know about, when they hear about SEO, search engine optimization, they always think that it needs to be about keywords and how you can put that into your content. But actually, images are also part of your content, and you need to be able to optimize that image name accordingly with the keyword that you chose. So I would say have a look at your images.
So when you say image name, that is a different field to fill out than the alt image text, right?
Yes, it's the file name.
Okay. So when you're uploading it to the internet, it already has a file name. Are you able to change it in most cases once it's uploaded, or?
I would say yes, but I would advise against it because once it's already on Google, once it's already in there, if you change it, you can also change your rankings. So instead of, taking the risk of losing any ranking that you already have, just do it, like optimize your images that you do after that.
Gotcha. Like I did read that part in the book, and I was just curious about exactly what you meant by that, but now that's kind of clarified it. I mean, that's kind of the same thing what I got from the book, but I didn't know if there was more to it than what I thought. I was thinking of it more deeply than what it was. It was just, I thought it was deeply. Let's say hi to other people. Hello, Felicia. Thank you for stopping by. And of course, Kira, who's come from your channel. Estelle's incredible. When I found out how sick she was on release day, I was so sure the stream would have been canceled. Of course, she powered through.
Yeah, I wouldn't have canceled it for the world, even if the world was ending.
And then hello, cool gamer. All right, well, let's look at the one question we have so far from Rachel. Are SEOs site specific, or can they be applied more broadly with similar results?
You will be happy to learn that it can be applied more broadly with similar results because a lot of things that you use on the internet are search engines. So it's not only about Google, Yahoo, Bing, or whatever. It can also be about YouTube. There's SEO specific to YouTube when you upload videos. There's SEO specific to Kickstarter because Shanon told me so. And there's SEO specific to Amazon. So everything that you learn about SEO can be applied to any type of platform that you use. You just need to find tools that will find the keywords for you for that specific platform. So for example, with YouTube, it can be TubeBuddy or vidIQ. For Amazon, it can be, how is it called again? AMZ something.
Rocket. Oh, the AMs. Yes, the.
Wait a minute. I have a specific page for people who buy my book.
DS Amazon Quick View and AMZ Suggestion Expander.
Wait a second. It's called AMZ Suggestion Expander.
Yeah.
It's a plugin for Chrome.
I have both that one and the DS Amazon Quick View.
Yeah, that one as well.
And I have TubeBuddy. But then you can also use, which is a paid program because those are free, is the KDP Rocket, which is called something else now, but the little app still says KDP Rocket. So
yes.
Yeah. I had a follow-up question with that. Oh, wait, what about the alt image text? Yeah. That is for accessibility, but does that at all go into the search engine optimization?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does also. So if you can put your keyword in there, it will certainly help.
Okay, cool. I really like that idea. Okay, another thing that I found interesting from the book was, and this may be useful for those who like to use like URL shorteners like bit.ly and other things like that. You can make your own back half of your link usually. And so the one thing I learned from the book that I didn't know was surprising, and it's just a small little thing, is that using dashes instead of underscores are better between words.
Yes.
So can you explain that a little bit more? Like why is that? Like
honestly, I have no idea. It just works better.
And see, I never knew that. I always thought, okay, I think I used underscore with most of the things I did because it just made it look like it was the actual words with spaces in between them versus having a dash where it looks like it's all kind of run together and it's like compound words.
No.
But so for visually, I like the other one better. But now I know to just put the dashes in there to start with. So we do have another question from Felicia. Do backlinks have any negative effects on SEO?
It depends. So backlinks are links that are, so basically, if you have any other website that links to your website, that is called a backlink. If they have a very bad authority, then yes, it can have a negative effect on SEO. If it does have a positive authority, then it does the opposite, so a positive effect on SEO. How do you know that if it has a negative or a positive effect? Is that actually you go on SEMrush because you can't know that as is, but you go on SEMrush. It's a marketing tool that is used by SEO people, and you enter your website, and you are basically able to see all the backlinks that you receive from other websites, and they categorize them by negative or positive effect, and then you can revoke those links, so you avoid having those negative effects basically. There's another way around it if you don't want to use SEMrush at all, but then you have to go on each website. Well, how would you know exactly? You go on Google, you type your name, and you see if there's any other website that comes up. Then you click on that link. If the website looks dodgy, that means that you don't want to be on it. You contact the owner to remove that link. But that's the only way around.
Okay. And you did talk about a lot of different tools like SEMrush, and you've already talked about a couple of those apps that you can put. Are they called apps? What are they called?
Yeah,
apps that you can put up there on your site, your like Chrome browser or whatever. I use Chrome, so I don't know how else it works on other ones. But are there any other tools? Because I do remember there was quite a few you talked about in the book. But are there any tools that you would say that is probably a good one for like the person who doesn't know a lot about SEO? That would be probably the best one for them to start with grasp of SEO and how it works.
Yeah. So for WordPress, I'm not a WordPress user anymore because I'm doing my own website with the HTML and CSS because my husband is a front-end developer. Lucky me.
Yeah.
But for WordPress, there's a specific plugin called Yoast SEO. And basically, you just follow their tips because you have to have a meta title that is in between 50 to, I don't know how long, 60 something characters long. They will tell you how many characters that title is. Same with the meta description. It will tell you how many characters that is. And if it's too long, too short, it will tell you that. If you forgot any alt text image, it will tell you that. It will also tell you if you used sorry, what?
What was the name of it again? Because I didn't quite understand what it was.
Yoast SEO.
Is it Yoast, like Y?
I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yoast SEO for WordPress. There we are.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries. I don't know what. Yeah, basically they have like a checklist. So just gonna go through that checklist and you're good to go. Okay. For Wix, I'm sorry about that, but I'm not a Wix user, so I don't know if there's any type of plugins that do the same things that Yoast SEO for WordPress. I will have a look at it and I will let you know.
I have Squarespace at the moment, but if you have just any other websites or anything that's better or something else that we can use.
For Yoast, instead of Yoast?
Yeah, like because I don't have WordPress, I have Squarespace, although I do have Wix on for the AWC website.
Well, I do have a checklist that anyone can download when they go on my website, and subscribe to my newsletter. That's part of my perks. Yeah.
And I did want to talk about that too, is that if you subscribe to Estelle's newsletter, which is down in the description box below, the first, she does the SEO challenge. And I started it, but then I had to stop because I was gearing up for the AWC and getting the Kickstarter out and I couldn't complete it. But she does lead you day by day by day on how to optimize what you have online. So it is very good just to get started on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I guess Felicia, she knew she knew exactly what you were talking about already. She put Yoast up there. Okay. So what is next because I know that after we finished with your live stream, I was like, oh, this is book 1 and it's set up in a series on Amazon. So what's next?
Okay, so Shanon, you did notice that I have the Author Marketing Toolkit book 1 written on that book. Mm-hmm. There's another one in preparation, and it's going to be on how to optimize your Amazon book page. So from top to bottom, from the cover to the reviews at the bottom.
And I would say that the SEO for Authors, this first book, there is a whole section dedicated to your Amazon page, but it is talking about all those basics again of like finding your keywords and putting them in and things like that. So I'm definitely interested to see what you're going to say for, the top from top to bottom. I assume that probably includes the, what's that section where they put like pictures with words and stuff like that. And they break it up in like 3 panels.
Oh, the A-plus content?
The A-plus. I have never done that. And I know you said you should do that. And I've never done it. Is that part of the SEO?
I did that for the Londoners in English. I haven't done that in French yet. Maybe I should. Probably I should. I haven't had the time to do that for SEO for Authors yet, but it will definitely be on as well because it brings on, it brings on some colors on the page as well. So it grabs attention and, the people would be like more attracted to that piece of information specifically. So they will know more about the book and potentially buy it.
Well, and I've heard that, like, I don't know if it's true that it can read the text as well. Like search programs can read the text on the pictures. I don't know if that's actually true or not. It's the same thing as what they say, like YouTube. YouTube can read text on your screen in like the first 10 to 15 seconds of your video.
Well, from Google's perspective, it can't. From Amazon's perspective, I don't know if it can, but behind the A+ content, you can put some keywords for each and every picture that you put on your space.
Okay.
So it can read some of it, but not everything that you put on your image.
And so I know Amazon sales page, big one for SEO. If you have books that you have out already. Website, big for SEO if you have an author website. What are some other places where authors and writers can think about optimizing themselves online?
Anywhere you write content for. So you could optimize content for social media, for Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. You could optimize that for, you could optimize your content for those platforms. Pinterest also is a big one because it is also a search engine. It has its own algorithm and search engine things. So yeah, definitely Pinterest. Other places like Medium. You mentioned one actually on Tuesday. I don't remember the name. It was something you put content on. You said you would be blogging on there.
Oh, Substack.
Yeah, Substack. Actually, you could also optimize for Substack.
Yeah, I don't know if I will be. I'm just looking into it as an option later. So, talking about blogging, Felicia says, when I first started blogging, the first piece of advice was to put the title in question form with targeted keywords included. That was 5 years ago. Is this still effective?
Yes, it is. It is because you have to know that when people are searching on the internet, they are searching with an intent. And if they're at the if they are this if sorry my English, if they are at the stage that they want to know something about a question that they have, they will put that into a question, and that question will be your blog post title.
So
if you
it's
think
more
that
likely
exact question written in your meta title, then it's a win-win.
Awesome. And you do talk about keywords. You talk about short tail and long-term tail keywords. What would you say is the ideal length? Because you mentioned that longer tail keywords are the best ones because you're getting to the intent. You start talking to the intent.
Yeah.
What is the ideal length keyword then?
Anything that is more than 4 keywords.
Okay.
Well, 4 words.
4 words, right?
Because the thing is that, for example, if you think that a good keyword for you would be romance, I would suggest you to Google romance and see what comes up, because it can be everything and anything. Like it's about everything. There is no real intention there. You don't know what you're looking for. But if you're using more than 4 words within as a main keyword, then the intent is more clarified. So if you're like epic fantasy romance, no, that's 3. If that's something like how to write epic fantasy romance, then you know exactly what you're looking at, right? You know exactly what you can expect from Google, and that's what you want to rank for. That's an example.
But that could work if no one is actually searching for that, right? Because I feel like for me specifically, I like epic fantasy romance versus fantasy romance, which ends up being mostly urban fantasy romance. But it doesn't seem like that. Like, I feel like I made up the term epic fantasy romance. Now I've seen it a couple of times, but it's not like everywhere.
Well, the thing is that you have to look for the keyword first. Like if you are thinking about a keyword, you have the first thing you have to do is to Google it. Google it. Because you never know what can come up. And if I have another advice to give, is that you have to Google it in incognito mode, because then Google won't be oh God, I have the word right there. That's the joys of live streams. It won't be influenced by your past searches, because it will reset, basically. And if you are like me and you are targeting a US audience while being in Belgium, you can also, in incognito mode, set your browser to US and English rather than Belgium and French.
So this is kind of off the wall question here, but I did notice that because you and I, we had talked about SEO and we looked at ChatGPT, and you kind of included some of those things into your book. And I was like, oh, I'm in her book. And then I saw my name again. I was like, oh, she mentioned me twice. And then when you were talking about keywords, you were using fantasy romance. I was like, was I on her brain when she was writing this?
Yeah, you were.
So, yeah. All right. So,
but also it's because when I've been asked to talk to conferences, I actually have been contacted by 2 American author guilds that are like specific to romance writers.
Yeah.
So that's also why.
On your mind. Did want to kind of point this out, Rachel. I said hyphens more than underscores, writing that down because I make the same mistake. And I think Felicia has another question, but let me just get this comment out of the way. And she says, Rachel says, wait, there's a difference in epic fantasy romance and fantasy romance? I was assuming they were the same. I mean, to me, there's a difference because whenever I have said fantasy romance to people, they automatically go straight to urban fantasy. Like the first time, like I like to ask my newsletter questions because I tend to get answers when I ask questions, which is really good for getting that engagement going. And like, I remember the first time I asked for their fantasy romance recommendations. Now I've been talking about my book, so they knew that my book was, about dragons and set in a castle with, and I told them it was kind of like our 11th century time period. But when I asked for recommendations for fantasy romance, everything I got was urban fantasy romance. And I was like, this is not what I want to read. I mean, I don't mind reading it when I have time, but I prefer epic fantasy romance. And I just started thinking, I was like, well, what's my fantasy romance? What I like to read, how is that different from fantasy romance? And I thought, well, there's fantasy, and then fantasy is broken down to urban fantasy, epic fantasy, sword and sorcery fantasy. I was like, okay, well, I think of mine then as epic fantasy, but with romance as the main plot, that it's epic fantasy romance. So I thought I kind of made up the title, but I've seen it used now a couple of times for people to distinguish that their fantasy was different than urban fantasy. Yeah. All right. Question from Felicia. Is it a good idea? Oh, sorry. Is it a good idea to have a question formed title and a subtitle in a different form with other possible keywords? Would that be too much?
Not at all. Because the thing is that when you are optimizing a blog post for search engines, you are first choosing a main keyword. Everything else is semantic, really. So every other know that if you're optimizing a piece of content, so a blog post, for one specific keyword, it will also rank for other keywords because of semantic. So don't worry about using other keywords in your piece of content. It's totally okay.
Okay. And Anita says, I've been talking to the wrong people. She says, most fantasy readers I know will lean towards epic when recommending fantasy romance. I guess I have all the wrong ones on my list. And it's funny that because most of my list has been built off of my YA fantasy, which would also be kind of considered epic fantasy because it's set in an older setting. And thank you, Estelle and Shannon. Well, thank
My pleasure.
So, such great questions. So I feel like, Felicia, you kind of already know a little bit about this because when you're talking about the title being a question, I was like, I never knew anything like that before. That felt like to me you had some experience, at least a little experience with some of this. But yeah. Okay, so if someone has never done SEO, they're just getting into this, they've got an online platform, wherever it's at, what is the first thing you would suggest they optimize?
Don't freak out. First, don't freak out because even though you have published a ton of content out there, there's still time to go through it and do it in your own time. But if that's the very first time that you are doing SEO and you're just starting your website, think about your name. That's the first thing you have to optimize your website for, is your name. So first, I actually have a good example of this because there's one author who contacted me because he Googled himself and he saw that there was a German activist with the same name as him. And he was like, is there a way to outrank him? And I was like, you might want to consider having a pen name, because if that person has a Wikipedia page, it would be very, very hard to compete with. And indeed, that person had a Wikipedia page. The thing with Wikipedia is that you cannot outrank it. It's nearly impossible to outrank it because it has so many links. It's so big already. It has internal links, external links, backlinks, whatever. Everyone is linking to that site. So it has an authority of 1,000. Well, it's up to 100, not 1,000, but
1,000 out of 100 though is a big.
It's very, very big.
Yeah.
So the first thing you want to consider when optimizing your website for SEO is your name. Google your name, and if there's a Wikipedia page or already people ranking for your name, then you might want to consider having another name.
Wikipedia. Can't anyone do Wikipedia though?
Yes, but if you're a brand new author, you don't want to compete with someone that has already like 100 books or 100
if they are
articles and something like that.
I say, because I would think big. I would think, okay, I just have one book out. I'm going to start my own Wikipedia page on my name, which now I'm thinking that's what I need to go do. And I'm going to start creating my own backlinks and links to other places that talk about me, because I am also out there a little bit. Like when I search my books and stuff, I can see some of the websites where I've done promotions. My book is still hanging out on their websites. So there's lots of links.
The thing is that having your own Wikipedia page with your name is a good thing, because if you have a backlink from Wikipedia, that's very good SEO.
So I think that's the idea. That should be like the next thing I do. Is make my own.
It's like having a YouTube channel when you're an author, because basically you're telling Google that you're on YouTube and you're having videos, and YouTube is such a big website that if you have links to your website, from YouTube, it's already a good thing for SEO.
Oh, okay. I do. I always have my website and all my. But I think I do as a link tree. Is that as good when you do a link tree, or should you have the direct website to your website?
I would consider having your website directly in your description.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I used to do that until I got the link tree, and now I just put the link tree in there for most cases. So, that's definitely something to coach. See, you should have an SEO for YouTube now, for social media.
The thing is that one of my actually, she was a beta reader. MK Williams was my one of my beta readers, and she said, "Hey, you should do something like a part on YouTube." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm not that confident with YouTube SEO, so
Well,
I mean, maybe for another book."
Yeah, I'd say if you do an SEO for social media sites, then you can just break it down by sites.
Yeah, the thing is that I'm really bad with social media.
Yeah.
Like I don't like it at all. I prefer search engines, like regular search engines like Google. Those are way less complicated to understand.
All right. I think this is a follow-up on what we were talking about. Following up on the epic versus non-epic and the key phrase. Does it hurt to have similar search words or phrases, adding both epic fantasy romance and fantasy romance?
Well, the thing is that if you have epic fantasy romance, then you can rank for epic fantasy romance or fantasy romance, you know?
Oh, so it's like the keywords on the back end of books where they tell you you have those 7 keyword files,
Exactly.
and you can put in like 5 keywords, and they don't all have to make sense together, but they'll put
Exactly.
different combinations together.
Exactly.
When you do your Amazon page book next, are you going to talk about the keywords on the back end too?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's part
that's
of the
part of it.
thing.
Okay, I didn't know because you said the page top from bottom, but I didn't know if that was like behind the scenes, and probably yeah. Never mind. Don't listen to me. That should be obvious, but it wasn't for a second.
Remember my talk at the AWC this year? Well, those are it's a step to consider when you want to optimize your website. Keyword is part of it.
Yeah. I didn't think about having a wiki. I never did until this moment. Now I'm like, I need to go make myself a wiki. I do remember it was like a year ago, and we were talking about how we should make a wiki page for authortubers, and they're like, Shannon, you should go do that. I'm like, I'm putting together a conference right now. I don't have time to go do that for. I don't have time. Felicia says, haha, I still don't have a link tree. Adding link tree on my to-do list. Am I even a real author?
Yes, you were. Don't worry.
She is saying, though, if you have a link tree, still put your website in your YouTube, though. So I'm not a Linktree fan. It requires 2 clicks. When I'm promoting someone, I try to make it as easy as possible for people to use the platform they prefer. So, hello, Six. How are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. I've gone back and forth about what I feel about this from an SEO perspective. Is there any input on this, like having a Linktree versus having a direct link, but having multiple links available?
Well, you have to consider 2 things, really. From an SEO perspective, any website, any page on a website has what we call SEO juice. So it's like the authority that page has, it can also transmit a little bit to another one. It doesn't mean it loses it. It just means it transmit a little bit of authority to another page. If you are linking to a link tree, you were basically giving the authority, the SEO juice to that link tree. But usually when when authors do links, it can be internal links to other pages on the website. Then it's totally fine. But they usually do regular links, so like direct links. You don't have to do 2 clicks. But it doesn't have any negative effect if you link to Linktree. You can totally do that. But I am currently doing a bootcamp, a design bootcamp, and well, from a marketing and from a design perspective, if you have too many buttons, too many possibilities on a website, like that, the readers, the user that goes into your website, they will get lost. They will not know what to do. They will have too many things to think about. They will be like struggling to understand what they should do next. So it's good design, it's good marketing to just have one thing. Like, what should they do next? They do that. But that's true that having a link tree, like if you have just one button that links to something, that will give you the possibility of many, many other possibilities, and that's still 2 clicks. That's exactly, yeah, that person is totally right. But if you're using something, is because we had that conversation last Tuesday during the release day live stream with Margaret, who asked if it was okay to have a book to read link. But I mean, if you've already used a books to read link, then you might have already registered your preferred platform, so it's only 1 click.
I kind of sometimes I think about that too with like I see like Dale L. Roberts, he has like his own like link shortener that's linked to his .com. And I've looked into that, and that costs money to do something like that. Like you have to pay for something or other, but I don't know if that's what he did, but I saw that there was some that you can personalize to you and your website. But I thought that I came across an author who she would give out this one link, and it was a short link. It wasn't very complicated. And when I clicked on it, it went to her website, but it was just this one page on her website that looked like a link tree. It had all the buttons set up just like a link tree, but it had her own buttons, and it had all. Yeah. And I was like, well, then that would also give your boost to your website versus going to a link tree. And I was like, I should do something like that. I should set it up where it looks like a link tree, but it's going to my website. And that way it continues to, you know, and then and the reason why I was first thinking about it is because on Linktree, I don't pay for it. If you pay for it, you can get that. You can set up all your images. You can set up different, you know, there's extra designs you can do if you pay for it, where it's not so much if you are a free user of Linktree. So I thought about doing that whenever I get the time.
Well, the thing is that I am using a link to my website as a link tree. Basically, it's vdbestelle.com/links. And it looks like a link tree, but it's still my website. So I do that. But as I mentioned, I'm not using any CMS like WordPress, Wix, Squarespace. It's my husband who manages the look. But anyone can do it. I mean, if you are a WordPress user, just set up a page that has like the /links, and then you put all the links there, and that's it. Same for Wix, same for Squarespace. It's the same principle, really.
Yeah. And I think I need to do that and get away from Linktree so I can set it up myself and have pretty pictures instead of just the blue background that it gives me.
Yeah.
So Rachel says, see, I'm conflicted because when I released my debut in ebook, I found more people bought it off of Apple Books than on Amazon, 7-1. So it really showed my assumption for a preferred site was wrong. Oh, and that's coming, you know, using the Linktree. I see Linktree in Twitter profiles. That's the only place I see it valuable. Well, also not only that, but I just recently got on TikTok. They all have these T's, Twitter, TikTok. But anyways, well, it's not Twitter anymore, right? It's X.
Now it's X.
Yeah. And TikTok, you can't have a link that actually is linked until you like hit a certain number of subscribers, which I haven't got there yet.
Oh, I did not know.
Yeah. But the space for you to say anything about who you are, your author bio and stuff like that, it's very, very small. You have very few characters to put anything in there. And I saw what other authors were doing who didn't have their link yet is they just put their link tree into that small little space, so that people could just, you know, highlight it, copy it, and go there and get to all their links. So, Rachel, were you promoting yourself using your link? I'm a producer for a couple of YouTube channels, so I'm mostly on Twitter. Oh. I like option overload, is what we talked about earlier with having all the different options. I was mostly promoting through IG, and I'm not savvy on Instagram. Is that a one-time payment?
I think she was talking about the option that Dale does. Links.
I don't know what he does. He may do what Estelle's doing, which is that he just has one page on his website that's set up with Dale links. So it could be.
I saw the Bitly. Actually, you can
pay for it.
You can personalize your links.
Yeah, but it's a monthly payment.
I have no idea. I've never used it.
Because I looked into it for the AWC, and I was like, I don't want to pay monthly. If this was like a one-time thing, I might do it. But now knowing that I could probably just set up a page, I should have thought about that for the AWC. Then I can just do that. So, but I don't know. We'll see. I used Linktree before, but only for my publishing company, Imprint's website, channel, and social links. Maybe I'll use it for my author website, etc. Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the comments. And I think we've, if nobody else has any other questions, we'll give it a couple more seconds there. If you guys have questions, throw them in the chat now, or forever hold your peace. Now, I mean, Estelle's on YouTube, so you can always go and find her and go talk to her on her channel. Very approachable. She's also on Discord for those of us who are in Discord. And then, but you don't have an Instagram, do you? I don't remember.
I do have an Instagram.
You do.
Estelle.
I remember now seeing your pictures of your book. Yeah, I remember. And I've liked all of it. So I don't know why I didn't remember that. So, so you can find her on Instagram. Here on YouTube, she has a channel. Buy her book now. You can also sign up for a newsletter. And she gives you, it walks you through an SEO challenge. And it's very easy to follow. to get through it and give you, and she opens it up. Tell me how you did. What did this do for you? So you can ask questions if something didn't work or you want more clarification on something. So very, very approachable, guys. I would definitely say reach out to her. I don't see any other questions. So do we want to go ahead and wrap up? You want to do your outro?
Oh my God, I did not prepare any outro. So hi, I am Estelle Van de Velde. You can find me everywhere. That is YouTube, Instagram. I do have a Facebook page, but I'm not a fan of Facebook. And on my website, it's vdpestelle.com. So I'm going to pop that in the chat.
Okay. And
there we are.
Emma just popped by. Hellos. And Rachel said, before I forget, I think she wants to say something. VDV
on Kies again.
Oh, congrats on 3K. Yes, thank you. I was almost at my next goal of 3,500, but then a couple people overnight decided that they didn't want to back as high. They both dropped down their numbers. So I'm back around 3,000 again. That's okay. I'm still ecstatic that it's over the 1,000 that I originally went for. So I'm happy with that. And by the way, if you guys didn't know, Rachel, do you want to drop your link? Rachel also has a Kickstarter going. It ends the same day as mine. The 31st is on Monday. It is for an audiobook. And she is not at her goal yet. So if anybody can go and support her, that would be great. I just upped my support to hopefully maybe get it kickstarted a little bit more because I saw it sitting at the same number for a while. So hopefully. And Estelle, awesome job on the book. Thanks for answering my questions. Hello.
My pleasure.
Congrats. And there is Rachel's Kickstarter. If you can please go and support her. And thank you. And we will end it there. You guys know who I am, but in case if you're brand new here, my name is Shanon. I write under the name of SE Houston. You're here on my channel, SE Houston. I do tons of writing sprints here and with occasional video that will come out. And I have a few books out. So we'll leave it there and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.